when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you for staying with us. We continue conversations this morning. As you know, it's International Youth Day, International Youth Week, and so our conversations are centered around things affecting young people. And this morning we speak with Mr. Keigon Denoon. He is the YES Program Administrator, and this morning we're talking about combating youth unemployment. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Adanna. Good morning, Tobago. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be at Tobago Updates, especially on a day like today, celebrating youth. I mean, an entire day dedicated to youth is amazing. I know today we have a lot in store for young people, especially with the Pro Youth launch coming up. I know some of my colleagues were on earlier talking about it, but we are here to discuss youth unemployment, and I guess the questions would roll, and we would see how this interview goes.
Right, of course. And a very important conversation. I know coming up, we used to talk about something called the brain drain.
Right.
When our young people will go abroad, they would study, equip themselves, get all the necessary skills. And then to come back home to practice what they have learned in university would always be a challenge. Right? And so that has happened for a number of years. And so we see people migrating to other countries, our young resources migrating to other countries. And now, of course, there's a discouragement. The young people are discouraged because they invest in themselves. And now they're in a space where they can't find a job. All right. And so now we're talking about the unemployment of the young people. And not just, how do I put this? Not just a young person who is not actively seeking or equipping themselves for employment, but we're talking about persons who have made that investment, who have made that, that they have really tried to position themselves in a place for employment. And we have a situation where a lot of young people are crying out, can't find a job, I need a job, I need to sustain myself and stuff like that. What is, from where you sit, right? What has been the report in terms of what we call young people internationally, the group or the age group that we're talking about? What has it been for you in terms of a report coming in from young people being, listen, boy, I just can't find employment anyway?
You see, the thing about it, Adanna, unemployment is something that is not localized to Tobago. It is something that almost every Caribbean island and country experiences. The last statistics I saw indicated that 1 in every 4 young persons are unemployed. So what we are doing from the division aspect is ensuring that young people are afforded the opportunity of getting meaningful employment. What you have is a number of persons who they go out and they educate themselves, right? And they come back and they have no work experience whatsoever. And so that is why the division has taken a very strategic approach to ensuring that internships remain a staple at the division. This year, the YES program facilitated over 150 young, bright minds from here in Tobago. We even have some here at Tobago Updates. I attended a play on Saturday, at TPAC. And the interns that were there were so integral in ensuring that the play was successful that the acting CEO asked if he could keep them. But I told him some of them have to go back to school. And the thing about it is, when you immerse young people into the culture, into the working environment from a very early age, now they are able to see what the working experience is like. They're seeing where they fit better. Some persons, I remember, there was one young lady who wanted to be a doctor. And the first time she saw blood, she fainted. And then she had to realize that she had to realign herself to something that she probably wanted to do differently. And so meaningful internships, meaningful employment, especially during that very formidable age in terms of between school and work, gives young people the opportunity to determine where they want to go, where they want to align themselves. So what we are having is that some people just wake up, I want to be a chemist. And sometimes we don't have that opportunity here.
And I was just about to ask that, do we provide that measure of what you would call
career guidance?
That's right.
Right.
To assist them, because as you rightfully say, somebody might just decide, well, I want to be an astronaut. But is it applicable to the space where is it possible for you to get that type of engagement where you reside, or is it, so how is that provided?
Right. So the thing about it is, we want to ensure that you are marketable on a global scale. We understand that brain drain is something that affects us significantly. However, we also don't want to limit our young people to the Tobago space and all the Trinidad space. We want to allow them the opportunity to spread their wings and be able to come back and give back to the country. Uh, so when you initiate that love for country, especially understanding what Trinidad and Tobago gives, you give you free education, give you meaningful employment. We have OJT, we have a number of opportunities afforded to young persons. There's a number of other Caribbean young people do not have access to. I speak to my friends, some in St. Lucia, some in Jamaica, and when I tell them about some of the programs that we have here, they are surprised. I mean, we have young persons who go to school and come back to Tobago, to Trinidad, and they don't have one bill to pay as it pertains to education because the education was free. So yes, unemployment is always going to be an issue, but you're going to have a greater educated force than the availability for opportunities. However, the division can only do so much. And that is why we are currently in the process of launching something called Impact TT, which is an ongoing internship, no longer going to be localized to July, August vacation. But this is going to be targeting young persons who are finished school and not necessarily sure what they want to do. Also, young people who just finished graduating from college and are in that limbo phase of looking for employment. Yeah, and we are going to be doing what you call meaningful partnerships with people like IDB,
I was just
the
about to
United
ask.
Nations, the JET program, to ensure that we afford young people opportunities that they may not be able to access by themselves. Yeah, educate them as to what opportunities is available. So yes, Tobago may not have all that you want, but we are going to be that guiding light to ensure that you have access to all the opportunities available, and hopefully that when you are able to access all those opportunities, you come back to Tobago and give back all that you would have learned.
In terms of collaborating with external agencies, as you mentioned, the government or the THE can't do everything. They can't absorb everybody, but they provide these programs that young people can participate and equip themselves to get the exposure. What is the response like in terms of collaboration with other agencies, as you mentioned before, to partner with you guys to ensure that you have something of substance that can be sustained? You don't want it to be like a one-off. You want it to be something that is ongoing, as you mentioned with Impact TT. What is the response like where that is concerned? To get young people engaged?
Well, the response from the private sector is amazing. They are full on board. They look forward to partnering with us. So we are going through that MOU phase and stuff like that. We are even going through the phase of doing an MOU with the Ministry of Youth Development to ensure that young people from Tobago have access to the Fuse program, where they can now start training to be linesmen in Tiantec and all of those opportunities. So we are ensuring that we make available every single opportunity to all young people in Tobago possible. So you have no excuse, none whatsoever, to say that there's nothing for you. We have opportunities for people who have no subjects. So we have opportunity in terms of guiding you along that path of training or technical vocational skills. If you want to go back to school, we have programs for that as well. So you literally have no excuse but to succeed. So if you choose to fail, that's a personal choice that you're making.
And I'm happy that you mentioned that, because it leads me now to my next question. What about the person who will find an excuse or find a reason why, well, I just can't. How do you encourage that person? Boy, girl, there's something there for you. How do you encourage that person to get off from where they are? And not just because they're making excuses. It could be legitimate reasons based on their experience or somebody else's testimony that has caused them to be despondent. How do you encourage that person to access all that is available to them in this time?
So we even thought about that. So we have something called the BOSS program. That means building opportunities for sustainable success. And that program is a mentorship program. Yeah. So say for example, for the young men who are making the excuses, we align them to somebody that they basically look up to. So say for example, I had a good friend of mine who was interested in boat building. Yeah. So we, through the BOSS program initiative, we would have aligned him to somebody who does boat building. And now I know he builds his own boats, he repairs his own boats. Business has come out of that. We had a young lady who was interested in breeding. So yeah, so it not necessarily means that you have to be a lawyer or a doctor or a plumber or electrician. There are also other spheres of life that you can get into. I know a personal friend of mine who has gotten into knitting and crochet and makes amazing bathing suits and so out of it. And so there's a market for everybody. If it's one thing I know, there's always room at the top. So But we can only do so much, Adanna. You could take the horse to the river, but you can't make it drink. However, you can make the water available.
That's right.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you this morning and the conversation we're having because young people just need support. They just need to know that somebody has their back and somebody's looking out for them. So we appreciate all the efforts that are being made to provide that space for young people.
Indeed. And I'm grateful that at my division, we have an administrator, Mr. Fisher McKean. We have the secretary, Mr. Joel Sampson, who continuously wants us to do more for young people. So every conversation you have with them is, okay, what more can we do? And I appreciate that. And so when you have the policymakers who are very adamant about driving youth development, it makes my job a lot easier in terms of planning the programs and the initiatives to ensure that young people have the opportunities made available to them.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We've been speaking with Mr. Keigon Denoon. He is the YES Program Administrator, and we were talking about combating unemployment where young people are concerned, and providing opportunities for young people here on the island of Tobago. Of course, opportunities are available for all, so make yourself available to access what is there for you. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations this morning in studio, and as we go for a break, we invite you to help us share the live. Share the live. Share the live. We'll be back.